All right, good morning, guys. Back at it with another MLB DFS video. The Reds are dead to me, just absolutely unreal. Thought we had some good leverage there because McLean was 5%, CES was 5, Noelle Marte, never really heard the guy besides from MLB The Show, 6, Steer, 7. They would have put up some runs, and Hunter Green didn't get us -3. We probably would have been in a good spot. Goldschmidt hit a home run, 3 for 5. Acuna continues to suck for us, but I mean, he got a run, a walk, and a stolen base, so he did something. Arenado, 1 for 4, run and a walk. I don't even know. It was just so tilting. I just remember watching the Reds game, and I just put my head down majority of the game.
Yeah, yesterday's slate was a disaster for pitching. I mean, the highest owned guys, literally none of them did anything. Rodriguez was pretty much the only guy worth paying up for at 9.9. He ended up 45. He's absolutely just torched the Guardians now in his 3 appearances. His first 2 outings were like crazy, like 50 plus fantasy points. And then now he comes back with a 45 piece. Probably should have looked into him more. But that's just hindsight. And I mean, I'm a bit of a Reds homer, so I think I was just leaning Hunter Green all day, despite what anything was telling me, and it turned into a home run derby for Toronto. So that was just not fun at all. And the main cash line was pretty low just because of how bad pitching was. If we just found a 2v2 anywhere off Hunter Green, we probably would have got there. It's just tough luck. 10 hits, 8 earned. Not what you want to see for a 9K pitcher. So yeah, moving on to today.
I just logged into Prize Picks. Their promo is Dak Prescott to get a pass yard. What's stopping me from taking the under?
Dak is all right.
Justin Fields is better. Everyone that's laughing about that, they're gonna wait and see. So, top pitchers tool right now. Fanduel has Waka pitching. Stochastic says Blake Snell. So I don't know what to believe. There's something too about Miami with their pitcher, but let's just go with what it's telling us here. Snell, Castillo, Giolito, Blackburn, Montgomery, Paxton, Winans, Javier, Marsh, Ashcraft. Everyone's right here. Bit of a condensed slate. It just seems like a lot of people, you brought this up to me earlier, paying cheap for pitcher to get to the Braves, but what are you thinking for today?
Yeah, I like whoever's going to go out there and pitch for San Diego today, uh, whether it's Snell or Waka. Either of them project fairly well. Both have K props out. You can go look. Um, Castillo 10-6 or 10-7. Fair price tag against the White Sox. Only 10% owned, 9% chance to be the top pitcher. He's also projecting the best on Ballpark Pal for 35 fantasy points. So Castillo's definitely in play. Just depends where you want to sacrifice bats because the Braves are projecting to just like break the slate already, which sucks because the Braves find a way to screw us no matter what. Giolito, he does project pretty great. 6.5K prop, just the over 9-1. 30% ownership is a bit egregious. I don't know. I mean, I would play him if he wasn't 30%. I don't know if I'll play him that ownership. Try to get different elsewhere. Um, Blackburn, same thing, 23% ownership. It's more because he's cheap and he's playing KC at home in a pitcher park, and you can pay up for the Braves when you use him. But I mean, 3 times the ownership compared to his top, pitching percentage. I will say the top pitching percentage is, pretty condensed. No one's over 10%. So if you do want to take shots on these lower price guys, I wouldn't fault you for that. I'm off Montgomery 10-3. He's not getting any ownership anyways. Paxton, same thing. Just hasn't looked all that great recently, and don't really love playing him at Houston. Winans is actually getting some ownership, 13% right now. Probably ends up between 10-15 at the end of the day. 6,500 against the Mets, who he just cooked, but um, I don't think I want to play him if he's actually owned. Yeah, I was looking at him earlier if he was going to be like sub 10, but I'm probably get off of him, especially since people are going to look and see that he just played this team and dropped a 50 piece. Uh, I don't know if I can see that being replicated. Javier, no thanks. I kind of like Boston. Marsh has an okay projection at 7-1, and he's playing Oakland. Probably not for me, though. Ashcraft has looked good, but the Reds have sucked, so I don't know if I can count on them to get him the win. No one else really. I mean, people might play this Rom guy, but I'm going to stay away.
Yeah, it's an interesting slate today. I mean, if Blake Snell is pitching, he's Blake Snell. He's only getting 1% ownership right now, and kind of like what I said a little earlier, a lot of people are just trying to fit the Braves, so you can get a little different if you don't stack the Braves and just go with Snell. You can go with Castillo against the White Sox. Castillo's getting 10%, but I mean, there's been slates where Castillo's like 15 to like 25. If he's give or take 10, that's good. Giolito getting 30% is insane, but I mean the Reds have been bad pretty recently, and like Funk was saying, 6.5 strikeout prop, juicy over the Reds can score like 2 or 3 runs, and Giolito can then like strike out the side. I mean, he can do that. Blackburn 7-8 against Kansas City, getting 22% is interesting. He's not bad. Kansas City has actually been pretty decent this second half of the season. I don't know how much of Blackburn like I would get to, but I mean, if you really want to stack the Braves, that's a good option there as well. Montgomery, I guess. Paxton against Houston, I really don't want to target. Winans, I understand what you were saying. Like, a lot of people are going to see what he's done. And then he cooked the Mets that he's going to get more ownership. I still like him just based on that salary, and he's only getting like 13% ownership. But I mean, I don't know. Marsh against Oakland, I guess. There's just been times too where I think like Funk would say like, "Okay, hear me out. Let's play Oakland." I'm like, "Shut up." And then they scored like 7, 8 runs. I think today's slate could have that happen just because both these teams are bad. Um, I like Ashcraft. It's just a matter of do you think he can go? I know he's not like a really big strikeout guy, but if he can go 6 and the Reds can somehow get the win, that could be something interesting to get to. And he's only getting 2%. Nothing else really stands out. I would kind of focus on Giolito, figuring out who's pitching for the Padres today. Castillo, Blackburn, Winans, I guess. Javier's just been so bad recently too, so him and Valdez are usually like upper tens or something. So um let's just move on to stacks. So to no surprise, Atlanta at the top. Then we got St. Louis, Texas, Seattle, Pittsburgh, Padres, Houston, Angels, Boston. Everyone's right here. Two of our arch rival stacks are at the top. Never get these guys right. What's standing out?
Yeah, the Braves obviously. Peterson walked 6 guys his last outing. If these guys can just get on base, they're going to take bags, especially if Harris is back in the 2 hole. Acuna and him are probably both going to take a bag. It's automatic, 9 points right there. Everyone's going to be on the Braves. Everyone likes the Braves. It's the best offense in baseball. St. Louis, I get it. We never get them right. They have the highest stack score. If you want to play St. Louis, I would not blame you. Falter's not very good. Texas, some good home run odds for Seager and Garcia. So maybe 2 or 3 man, but they are expensive as hell. So if you're paying up for them, you're probably not going to pay up for the Braves. Probably a good leverage spot if you're looking to go elsewhere, like for an expensive stack. Pittsburgh, I like against Rom. You don't really know what to expect from this guy's first start. So, you know, I don't really like them as like minis. If I was going to play Pittsburgh, I'd play a 4 man. Just hope they can generate a bunch of runs that way, a bunch of singles and doubles. Don't project that well for home runs, like 1.25 on Ballpark Pal. San Diego looks good, depending on what pitcher they throw out there. It doesn't really matter, Weathers or Cueto. I think Cueto is probably going to start, but they are kind of owned 10% as a stack. Again, just another pay up option if you're not playing the Braves. Houston, sure. The Angels are like kind of interesting just because Ashcraft, like you said, doesn't strike out all that much. I mean, maybe low 20s% K rate. Um, Otani and the boys behind him can do fine. Other than that, not much else. Let's see. Oh, Boston against Javier, only coming in at 5% owned. As a stack. Probably the last stack in my pool if I had to cut it off. What is that, like 10 down the list? And I guess if you want to get leverage against Winans, and you can play the Mets, but that's about it.
It's funny because after you're talking about the Angels, you're like, there's not much else. Oh, Boston. You're like talking about them before we started. So Atlanta, St. Louis, top two easily. Texas looks good against this Slade Ciccone. Seattle against Tucson. Tucson can strike out guys, but he just gives up a bunch of hits. That's just the White Sox. Tucson was good with like Atlanta, and now we're the White Sox have them. Pittsburgh against Rom, yeah, but I mean, no one really knows what this kid is capable of. For all we know, he can just come out and pitch like a no-hitter. Obviously, very unlikely, but San Diego against Ryan Weathers, Tatis, Machado, Soto. Whether it's Ryan Weathers or Johnny Cueto, it doesn't really matter. San Diego looks pretty decent here. Houston against Paxton. Paxton's last few starts, he's been giving up a lot of hits. So I can see Houston getting here. Um, kind of like what I was saying, Angels against Ashcraft. Ashcraft can strike out a bunch of guys, but he can go pretty deep into games if he's on one. The Angels strike out a good bunch, so who knows? Maybe Ashcraft is throwing 12 Ks today. Who knows? But I would bet more that the Angels get to Ashcraft more. Boston against Javier is interesting because Boston right now is getting a 4% ownership share, 0.7% leverage, and Javier just hasn't been that great recently. Atlanta's getting 13% ownership shares, same with St. Louis. The Rangers only getting an 8% ownership share. You got Simeon and Seager, who are probably the chalkiest guys for that team. Seattle getting 11. Boston, like I said, they're only getting a 4% ownership share, so that's pretty interesting. I might regret saying this, but I think the Mets don't look too terrible because it's like I like his price tag. I think he's an okay pitcher for today, but then kind of like what Funk was saying, he can't replicate that. He got like 58 the last time he played the Mets. He can probably do pretty good again, but if you think he's breaking 58, there's a small chance that that happens. That's about it. I'm trying to like think if there's anything else. I mean, I guess Cincinnati, but with those price tags of theirs against Giolito, probably not. But let's just jump into lineup generator. So what we normally do, Fanduel main 4-3-1 balanced. Jesus Christ, Giolito. Okay, you want to lock anyone or no?
Nah,
So it's getting a lot to. Holy shit! Interesting. Did not mean to click that.
it's because they're still pretty cheap. They're like a nice pairing with the Braves.
Yeah, Edmund O'Neill, Contreras, even Goldschmidt at 3.6 is pretty nice. Acuna 4.8. Jesus. 30% Blackburn is interesting. 4K Tatis, 31 Kim, 31 Machado. Yeah, definitely some interesting bets. The GOAT himself. And definitely some 5% 2 cents. Nice. Very nice. Yeah, Simeon Seager here. Vaughn Grisham got called up.
I did not know that.
I mean, if he's in the lineup today, get him at 2K. That's a brave for you. Um, but yeah, you can save up to 20 lineups. They all come over here. You can see who you get to. Um, like I was kind of showing earlier, stack exposures. You can see what it's getting and player by player. Then you can export it straight to FanDuel or DraftKings. So definitely worth a shot. At least trying it out, seeing what you like. They moved Harris to 3-1. Nice. Um, all right. Lead us off with home run calls.
Gonna start with the Brave, of course. Gonna go Riley. Usually pulls through for me. Then I'm gonna go Tatis and Teoscar Hernandez.
Who is your Brave? Sorry, I like completely zoned out. I won't lie.
Riley.
Riley, that's what I thought. Okay. Because I got Matt Olson, Luis Robert, and Matt McClain. I think Gio's going to give one up today, bare minimum. And it better not be Ellie De La Fraud. That's all I got to say. Funk is like swearing at me from the inside. That should just about do it though, unless you got anything else to add, anything we missed.
No, just a pretty interesting slate for offense, I think. We'll see where 30% Geo ends up at the end of the night. Should be a pretty interesting result there. Make sure to check out our lineup about 10 to 15 minutes before lock, and check out Stochastic's tools in our description.